Hey, so I'm going to do this video talking about artifacts and their uses. So let's just begin. You can go to the journal. This is where I'm kind of viewing all these artifacts from. I'm just going to talk about their strengths, their powers, where you might use them, why you might use them, just some general knowledge about the entirety of the 196 artifacts that we have. We'll primarily be looking at 5 stars because that's where the majority of your big power comes from. So starting off with a symbol of unity. So symbol of unity, you can actually get this from guilds, and this is probably one of the stronger artifacts in the game. So it does two things. It increases hit chance, and it increases max damage dealt. So at max, it'll increase your hit chance by 20%. Why is this important? Why is this good? So you will run into evasion units like Violet, like Mersa that you just picked up. These units have just a base chance that they are missed by attacks. There's also artifacts that give 20% evasion. So having a 20% increased hit chance just negates that evasion, which makes it really helpful when you're trying to hit those sneaky evasive units. So that's really good for this, but it also deals an increased 16% damage. And it has no condition for that. So that's a flat 16% damage, which the standard, you'll find other artifacts that will do a 20% max damage, but has the condition that they're above half health. So this has no condition for it, but it's a little lower. Both of those kinds of artifacts, top tier, highly recommend them. You would put these on someone who you want to just one-shot someone, and you can't afford to have them miss. Really good if you're trying to kill an Arbiter Vildred with someone who has Extinction, so that way he can't revive and come back. This is really good for killing someone's Violet or their Mersa. So I would recommend this artifact. It's a good artifact. Alright, moving on to Bastion of Hope. It's an effect-resistant piece of equipment. If you are trying to build an ER team, it's really good. It's incredibly situational. It's also in the Guild Wars shop. It's worth picking up eventually. I wouldn't focus it right away, though. Cruel Mischief, you don't need it. A Guide to a Decision, it's an interesting artifact. I picked this up because there's a specific build on Holiday Euphine where as long as she has a berry, sorry, not as long as she has a berry, as long as she has max HP and she gets hit, she will increase her CR. So this gives her a fat barrier and lets her increase her combat readiness, and then she gets to cut people. It's pretty good. It's not one of those that you would put on everyone, but it's pretty good. Proof of Valor. You can get a total of 2 maxed out Proof of Valors now in your Guild War. This is an incredibly strong artifact. It just flat up decreases the amount of total damage taken. So if you put this on an A Robbie or on another tanky character, it makes them really, really hard to kill. So it's really good for that reason. Highly recommend it. It does wonders in survivability. You can also put it on your attack heroes and make them more likely to survive. You'd be surprised at what some units survive with a 30% damage reduction on them, which is really good. It's really good. Victorious Flag. I'm just not going to talk about this one because it's not really relevant. Warhorn, you will see this a lot. It is another guild artifact. What this does is every time an enemy takes a turn, it goes up by 1 until it hits 3. Once it hits 3, it gives you a combat readiness boost, which is really good. On top of that, it also increases the attack of all your allies, so it's just extra damage for your entire team. This is really good for something of a unit who is trying to cut in between a cleave team and just completely mess up their plans. This is a really good artifact. It's not the first artifact I'd recommend from the guild shop, but it is an artifact that I highly recommend eventually picking up, as it is just a solid artifact. I give it 5 out of 5 horns. Little Queen's Huge Crown. I honestly forgot this was a thing. It's anti-barrier. It's okay. There's better in class for fighters. So this is a warrior exclusive. It just means that if your only warriors can equip this. Warriors have better artifacts. It's not a terrible artifact. It's just not great. Moving along, Alencinox's Wrath, kind of the same category, warrior exclusive. It just doesn't do enough. It's not bad though. I mean, it straight up increases crit hit chance by 15%, which that's 3 max rolls, so that's nothing to sneeze at. And it can also increase combat readiness for you, but it's really situational. It's only really good for a couple of characters. I don't know. It's not really worth it. Anti-magic mask we're not going to go into because you can't get it. Azure Comets the same way. Border Coin, incredibly situational, but it has its place on some warriors such as Sirmia, also on ML Kawazu, as they do have non-attack skills that they activate frequently, and it gives it really good buffs. For those select units, it's really good for them. It can do a lot of work. Champion's Trophy, basically it gives you stun chance on your S1, as long as it's not AoE. It does pretty good. It's not a bad artifact. I would recommend it for select heroes. Circus Fantasia is just an effectiveness boost. I don't recommend it, especially since it's only for warriors. Yikes. Cradle of Life. I do actually run this on my cigarette for Wyvern, as it's just another chance to get more debuffs on Wyvern. It's okay. Like, it does a very niche. It's just okay. I'll leave it at that. Creation and Destruction. A chance for a skill not to go on cooldown. It's bad. We'll leave it at that. Draco Plate. This has damage reduction and increases crit damage. It's just good. It's really good. I would compare it to Proof of Valor, and I would say it's really difficult to choose which one I would rather have, because more damage and damage reduction, or just bigger damage reduction. So it really depends on what the unit's for. It's good though. Highly recommend it. Durandal. On select units, if you have a Dark Corvus who's getting hit a lot, as soon as he gets touched after he's under 75% health, he's jumping up with CR. He's about to go off on them. It's a good artifact on select heroes. Full Metal's Automail, we're not going to talk about it. Indestructible Gators. It's just not good. It applies burn after a non-critical hit, so it's incredibly limited to who can actually use it. It's just not good. These are limited, so we'll ignore those. Merciless Glutton. It's too situational for me to care about it. Pure White Trust. I don't actually own this, so I don't know what it does. Attack skill, increase the speed of the caster for 2 turns, increase the control. Yeah, we're just going to say there's a reason I don't own it. Same with Samsara Prayer Beads. It's not good. Sigurd Scythe. This is a good artifact. I like this. So once your health becomes 50% or lower, you gain lifesteal. and you deal more damage. That's pretty good. So you put this on like a Ravi or an A Ravi or any other warrior who you do know is going to take a lot of hits and is respectable in damage. They can just full health after an attack. So like you'll run into an ML Ken or an A Ravi with one of these and they just full health themselves after one attack. It's really good on counterattack heroes. It's just really good. I love it. Snow Crystal I don't care about. These I don't care about. Ulberus Tooth. You'll care about this one. You will see this one on occasion. This is an artifact they put on a hero that just stacks their attacks. You'll see it on primarily Hyungs now. The big thing that it does is that it just does flat damage after their attack, proportional to their max attack. So units that like Hyung that might have 5 to 7,000 attack, it just has flat damage. It just hits you regardless if you evade it. It's good. You will see this. This is a good relevant artifact. You won't care about that. Maybe you'll care about Bastion and Pelusia. You put this on your tank. It's a Knight exclusive artifact. We're getting into Knight's realm now. Essentially what it does, it gives your highest DPS unit a barrier and immunity, which for PvP it's relevant. It can be good. The issue is you're just going to find better artifacts for Knights. Knights have some of the better artifacts in the game, which brings us to our first one, Elbrus Blade. It just gives you counterattack for your Knight whenever one of your allies is attacked. So you just punish them for not looking at you. It's wonderful. I love it. You put this on Charles, and Charles is just like correcting posture everywhere. That old man claps, and I love him. Moving on. Holy Sacrifice. You have a lot of tanks that take a lot of damage. This is a good artifact that will bring them back from the dead. So it's good. I highly recommend it. On select builds, it's really nice. You will find some Justice for Alls. There are some other artifacts that do a similar effect, but better. Essentially, it just buffs the caster after their turn every turn. Mature Sunglasses. This does increase damage and decreases damage. It's good. It's for Knights instead of the one that's for Warriors. It's good. Nothing else to say about it. Noble Oath. Oh, man. So this is an artifact that on select defense-based characters, like Fighter Maya, when she has this and her defense just increases, just pops off and is really good. Outside of that, I would never run this. It's not a great artifact for the vast majority. Rise of a Monarch. This just makes one of your characters FCC, where at the end of their turn, they give someone else a barrier. I think it's really good for that. It's a strong contender. Most times it will just be overshadowed by other artifacts. Spear of a New Dawn. This is just Ulbert's Tooth, but for Knights. It's okay. Most Knights don't attack spam as much, so it won't be as relevant. Sword of Urza. It's really good against tanking, but most of the time it's not as good as other options. Let's see. I'm going to skip to Alexa's Basket. This is the next artifact on the list that you'll care for. This is for Thieves. So at the beginning of the Thief's turn, you will have a chance to get greater attack and crit chance increase. All you really care about is that greater attack, because your unit should already be at 100% crit. But if it's not, it gets an additional 50% chance, which is really good. It basically means that you're going to be critting everything. But the greater attack buff, one of the stronger buffs in the game. You will see this on a lot of cleave teams. You'll see a lot of A Vildreds running this. Is a solid artifact. it does a ton of extra damage. Highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. Recently this artifact got a buff. It gives counterattack if your unit is missed. So you can stack this on a lot of evasion-based units and give them extra counterattack chances. It just gives them an extra flat 20% evasion. 10 out of 10. I love this artifact. It's really good now. Goblet of Oath, we don't care. Attack of Control. It has hit chance. I talked about that earlier, which I think is really good. It also increases crit chance, which, take it or leave it. If you need the extra crit chance, it's good. Increased hit chance is situationally good. I put it as a mid-tier relic artifact. R and L are incredible. You will have a lot of thieves that have taken extra turn mechanics, and this just gives you a 20% chance to take an extra turn. However, that stacks with your abilities that give you an extra turn. So if you have a unit that takes 2 turns guaranteed, this is to get a 3rd free turn, which is really oppressive when you boost someone with this and then they take 3 turns and just kill a whole team. It's great. I love this artifact. 10 out of 10. Secret Art Swordstorm. You will see this on Celine's, who is pictured here. Essentially gives her an attack buff whenever a non-attack skill is used on the opposing team, which is really good for her because when a non-attack skill is used, she counterattacks them. So yeah, it's really good for that reason. It also gives her a CR boost when that happens, which I like my units going. For Celine, this is a 10 out of 10. No one else is using it. Shepherd of the Hollow. This is another flat 20% evasion artifact. For that, I like it. It just flat out increases damage and gives you even more damage the lower your health is with the unit. It's an okay artifact. It's just okay. Sword of Summer Twilight. It's a pass for me, dog. It gets more damage through, but it's kind of a pass. Sword of Winter. It's also kind of a pass. It's good in peace. Steal souls from the enemy. Trust me, nothing is more annoying than having a cleave team that you're about to pop off with, and then this annoying guy just takes all your souls and you can't soul burn and take that extra turn to do what you really wanted to do. For that, it's really good. It's really niche. You're not always going to be using it, but it does this one job really well. Torn Sleeve. This is really good at killing Wyvern because you can get a 100% chance to just add an extra bleed effect on every attack. This is Thief exclusive though, so only select units can use it. It's also limited. It's also a limited artifact, so it's harder to come by. Violet Talisman. It's not bad. You will find a lot of people don't normally attack the evasion heroes right away anyways, so you can get your max stacks normally. It's just okay. It's just extra damage on top of that increased evasion. It can be really good. It can be really good. I'll leave it at that. Wind Rider. So if you have someone that you know is going to just delete one guy a turn, really good artifact because you get to kill the squisher unit, then go into stealth and get this big attack bonus on your next attack, which you can then target their tankier units with and kill them with it, and then go back into stealth. So in certain situations, this is a great artifact. Moving into Rangers, Air to Surface Missile Misha. It's good. Increases hit chance and crit damage. It's good. So this helps you kill those pesky violets. It's good. I like Violet being dead. Bloodstone. Lots of builds will build around this artifact because it just means that your damage dealing as well. So for that, I give it a 10 out of 10. It's incredibly situational though, so really you're looking at more out of a 7. But when it works really well. Ducks Noctis, I don't remember. Glow Wings, I don't remember, so that means they're pretty trash. Guiding Light, another limited artifact that is incredibly good. It starts the caster in stealth, so this makes it for PvP really strong. It's really annoying to deal with a stealth unit when you weren't expecting it. After their turn, they have a chance of going back stealth, which can be really good and just save your squishier rangers, who are either going to be dealing damage or controlling the battlefield. So it's a really good artifact. I would put it at 10 out of 10. Typically, you're only going to hear me say numbers if I think it's a good artifact. 10 out of 10. Iron Fan, I don't know why it's an artifact. It just deals extra damage to water units. Yeah, it's weird. I don't like it. It's too situational. Miscon File is another limited. If you ever get the chance, I do recommend it, as it will give you defense break on single attacks. That's pretty good. I don't remember Otherworldly Machinery, so it's probably trash. Rengar's Special Drink. This is really good. We've talked about Ulbra's Tooth earlier. This artifact works with AoE. It's really good. Get this artifact. Put it on select units. They just cleave the crap out of people. It's really good. Don't remember that one, so it's trash. Song of Stars. This will give you a chance to put target. It's just damage increase on targets. It's good. It's a good artifact. Offers out there, you'll like Song of Stars. Star of the Deep Sea. You will find this good for select units that play with bombs and detonate bombs. This makes it so non-crit hits will have a chance to plant bombs. And when bombs detonate, they deal a good amount of damage, and they also stun the units. So situationally and with certain units, this is a really good artifact. Realistically, you're only seeing it on a couple of them, though. Sword of Judgment. You don't see this very often. It's not a bad artifact. Chance to attack twice whenever you attack someone with a single target attack. It's funny when it pops off a lot. Unseen Observer. It gives you some souls and increases combat readiness whenever they make a non-attack skill. It's okay. I wouldn't use it. It's okay. Wall of Order is a chance to get greater attack if the enemy has a lot of buffs. You don't normally see this. I don't recommend this artifact. It's okay. It's just better. Moving into Wizards, we have Abyssal Crown. This is top tier. It just has a chance to stun the enemies. You put this on your AoE mages, and then now they're just chance to stun people. 10 out of 10, great artifact. Really annoying on units that AoE multiple times with one activation. We don't care about any of these. You might see Dignus Orb on occasion. It's really good with mages that have a high attack and also have non-attack skills. It's incredibly situational. Basically, it gives you a fat barrier that's proportional due to your attack stat, and then increases the damage of your next attack. So for some casters, it's really good. It's situational though. You'll find better. Fairy Tale of a Nightmare. It's like Ulbrus, but only for counterattacks and out of activation attacks. It's okay. Knowledge Seed is a horrible artifact that I wish they never made, or since they did make it, I wish they made it so it actually be usable. Magic for Friends. This is a Mercedes exclusive artifact. It has a lot to read, but essentially it has damage reduction, and whenever when an ally is attacked, it has a chance for them to counterattack, which all Mercedes attacks target more than one people, so you just clap people. It also gives her the chance to attack twice off of it, which is really frustrating when it goes off, but highly recommend it. Get it on Mercedes, 10 out of 10. What is Scroll of Shadows? I don't even remember this. I remember now why I don't remember it. It's because it's bad. Let's see. It's Breath. So this is okay on some people who spam their non-skill abilities and are mages, because obviously mage exclusive. It allows them to have a reduced cooldown. So you have some of them that have just a 2-turn cooldown, then it's a 1-turn cooldown, and you can just only use that cooldown. So in that case, it's good, but there is often better. That's the side factor. There's just better. We don't care about the rest of the major artifacts, so we'll go into Soul Weavers. Celestine makes it so your basic attacks on your healers will heal. In select cases, it's a good artifact. Often there's just better. For example, Idol's Cheer. Whenever the equipped unit is hit, you increase the combat readiness by 15%, or sorry, by 20% of your highest attack unit. It's really good for countering a cleave team. Highly recommend it, 10 out of 10. Rod just increases healing. Or sorry, no, this is... Rod makes it so when you use a non-skill attack, it heals an ally with the lowest health. This is just extra healing. It's really good for that. So if you have a... It's really good. Shimadra's Staff is the one I was thinking about. It increases your effect resistance and your healing value. And it does that for your entire team, so for that, it's pretty good. You know, select situations where you really like it. Stella Harpa cleanses debuffs from an ally when this champion is attacked. It doesn't say once per turn, so every time that person's attacked, it has a chance to proc. You can ruin a lot of debuffers' whole day by having this. I like it. That's my approval. It's good. Take it. Touch of Rekos. Once per turn, you heal, I believe, an ally? All allies after the person is attacked. So it's okay. It happens once per turn. It's okay. Unfading Memories. This heals all allies when you make a non-attack skill. With Soul Weavers, this is pretty good. You should be able to trigger it almost every turn. It's good. If you get the chance, pick it up. And then we get into our 4-star relics. A lot of these are trash and you won't use them. However, Portrait of the Saviors, it's a limited edition, but whenever you get the chance to pick this up, do pick it up. It has a flat 20% damage increase, which is really big. It normally will mean the difference between life and death of enemy units. The only caveat is that they have to start at more than 50% of their max health when you attack them, which for a cleaver, most of the time they are above that threshold anyway. In fact, for that reason, you just clap. Let's see. Don't care about any of these. Crimson Seed, really good. You put it on a warrior as it's warrior exclusive. If they get hit once per turn, they have a good chance, a 70% chance, of dispelling a debuff. Select units when they get hit, they like dispelling their debuffs. It's really good. I like it a lot. Hellcutter, you'll see this pop up every once in a while. You put it on a slow, increases their attack and their critical hit chance as other units take their turns, and then they just bap, unload on someone. I like it a lot. It's pretty good. Situational, but very good. Sepulchrum just decreases damage taken the more times you get hit. It's situationally really good. Strack Gauntlet increases effect resistance. It's okay. Adamant Shield is damage reduction for your entire team due to critical hits. It's okay. It's normally better, but it's okay. Azorius is actually top tier. What it's going to do is it's going to increase the defense of all of your allies, including the caster, by 10%. So that alone is pretty good on a tank, which this is a knight exclusive. But then you can take up to 20% of all damage suffered from your allies on the tank. So you're like 25,000 HP tank is now taking less damage and then absorbing all the damage that your squishier units are taking. This means life and death for a lot of your squishier units. Is top tier, 10 out of 10, max this artifact as soon as you can and put it on your tanks. Looking at you, Roz, because I think that's what you're going to have for a while, sadly. Dust Devil. There are certain thieves that will do a lot of S1. Be aware that Dust Devil is a thief exclusive and it gives them a 30% chance to have their S1 attack twice. Kayron used to be a thing because his S1 would AoE and attack your entire team and potentially kill the entire team. And then if it didn't, it would attack the second time and definitely kill the entire team. You don't see this as often anymore because a lot of the units that really like this are no longer the meta. But do be aware that this relic exists. And for the units relic, they are very strong because of it and their ability to attack twice. Really good artifact. Ilia's Knife. It gives a good amount of defense pen. This just makes your attacks deal a lot more damage. It's pretty good because of that. Moonlight Dreamblade. This is another 20% evasion artifact. It's not a 5-star though, so it does require it to be max level before you get that 20% evasion. But it's a 4-star, so it's reasonable to get that. It also gives your unit attack buff when it's missed. So this can make a really good unit. You'll most likely see this on a Violet, so that way when you miss him, he gets attack buff and then he counterattacks you and lifesteals. So for a lot of units like that, it's really good. You'll see this on units like T-Surin, who they don't want you controlling them, and the chance that you just miss them just makes them unkillable. It's a really good artifact. I highly recommend it. We're just going to ignore all of these. Sasha Attains is actually really good, especially for cleave teams. Essentially, whenever you kill an enemy with any of your units, gain 16 CR for all of your units. You just go faster for killing people. It's pretty good because of that. I would put it at top tier. Layla Violin. Be aware that some mages attack a lot, and this just gives them a chance to dispel buffs when they attack. I like this on Champion Zerato because he likes returning debuffs, and if they have immunity, he can't do that, but this will strip that so that way he can. There's also other debuffers that really like having a strip, so it's good. I would highly recommend getting it. It's in, what shop is it in? It's one of the event shops, but it's worth getting. Kal Adra as extra damage if they're debuffed. There's typically better artifacts though. Speaking of better artifacts, here is maybe one of the best. Tagahal's Ancient Book. It lets you start the battle with 20 souls, which means that you get a soul burn right off the bat. 10 out of 10, you can have a full team of this and just have someone who just soul burns 4 times and takes 5 turns. It's really strong in the right hands. Highly recommend getting at least one of these maxed. top tier artifact. Megara's Tome. Your Soul Weaver uses a non-attack skill. Most Soul Weavers have non-attack skills. And they get a crap ton of CR. This is a really good, my Soul Weaver goes fast. It's good, I like it. Water's Origin. You hit my Soul Weaver too hard, it heals a good amount and gains CR. It's good. Wanderous Potion Vial. My heals and dispels a debuff on their turn every turn. We're now getting into... Oh, sorry. It's a good artifact. I highly recommend it. It's a little bit more situational, a little bit more PvE, but it's really good for what it does. Now we're getting into 3-star artifacts. There's really only a few of these that I will even mention. Everything else you can just put into the dumpster. Daydream Joker is a 10 out of 10 artifact. Why do I say this? Well, let me tell you. It increases your damage dealt by 3% of the max health when attacking. So you look at Wyvern, it's got a lot of max health, you're just getting a lot more free damage. So for Wyvern, this is peak. Put this on your DPS on Wyvern. Really good. Cigarette really likes this. So it's really good for hunts. Highly recommend it. Mighty Yaksha. This is not the artifact I was thinking. Never mind. Is it Ascending Axe? No, it's not. This makes me not want to talk about this artifact when I find it, saying how I can't even remember what it's called. So we're just not going to talk about it. Oath Key increases your hit chance. We've talked about this. This is good against a Violet. Some units will like this other than others. It's good, it's situational, it's cheap. Timeless Anchor has a 50% chance instead of Crimson Seed, which has a 70% chance. However, where this is stronger is that it's not limited to 1 a turn. So this is potentially really, really good. I would put this on a Dark Corvus and then just be like, come at me, bro. I don't care if you debuff me because you're going to be